that you're here this morning. I'm so glad that I have an assistant. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I have a student practicing in front of me. He's my favorite student, John. Thanks for being here. He's going to let me know if for some reason I have technical difficulties, which if you've been following some of my videos, accidentally the camera has turned off. I don't know why that is, but maybe you're noticing that I have a new angle because I'm not using my phone now, I'm using my iPad. And hopefully we will not have any more technical difficulties. Okay, I'm doing just like we would do in the studio. I'm giving you the announcements at the beginning of class. First announcement from the studio. If you would, we would love it if you could send some pictures for us, poses. Maybe you're doing the poses, maybe your pet's doing the poses, maybe you're doing a partner pose with your child or your spouse or your other person that you're isolating with. We would just love to hear from you. How we use those pictures, the idea is we'd like to create like a big collage of all of our hometown students, our Namaste students who we miss very much. We'd like to create some sort of collage and we'll put it out there on social media. And if you're cool with us putting just your individual picture, let Jolynn know that, and we would love to be able to share how some of you are practicing at this time. Second announcement, Yoga on the Screen is coming up Wednesday, April 29th. For the last few years, we've been doing Yoga on the Green on Public Square, which has always been fun. And ordinarily, it's on Wednesday nights. I usually teach on Wednesday nights, but this time I'm going to be able to teach Yoga on the Screen and our just regular Wednesday night class at 5:30. So we'd love for you to join us for that. Let's see. And then, as always, like I have to write this down. Thank you so much for staying connected with us. We really do appreciate hearing from you and knowing that you are part of our community and able to continue your practice at this time. If by chance you aren't able to make Facebook Live, for example, I just got a message from someone who said, "Oh, I just did your class, I'm all done. Thank you so much." He did the class on Wednesday. You don't have to watch these classes live. You can also catch them under the video tab in Facebook, or you can go to YouTube, just in case you wanted more options, in case you wanted to practice like all day, every day, yoga, yoga, yoga. You could do it with all of our awesome teachers. We're teaching 2 classes every single day and putting them out there for you. So we're glad that you're joining us. And like I said, stay connected with us. Let us know that you're there. We really appreciate hearing from you. All right, go ahead and sit up on your blankets, your blocks, anything that gives your hips a little bit of height. Good. And if it feels comfortable to you and you'd like to close your eyes, close your eyes. If it feels better to you, just keeping your gaze soft, looking down the length of the nose so that you get a little space in the back of the neck, that's okay too. Just come to a comfortable seat where you can feel your breath moving in and equally letting go. You feel the rhythm of your breath begin to steady. Allow your face to soften just a little bit. Put some space between your upper and your lower jaw. Wiggle the tongue around in the mouth. And gently guide your shoulders so they come back to rest over your hip bones. Turn your palms to face upward. And slide your elbows back so they come right underneath your shoulders. You feel your spine begin to stack. You feel yourself really present in this moment, in this breath. You may want to make some circles with your head, just rolling the head in one direction a couple of times, letting out any little crunches you may feel. Or maybe the crunches you didn't even know were happening, were in there. You just let them go. And then reverse the order. Circle the head the opposite way. Feel yourself just really connecting to your breath this morning. Thought we'd start off. I'm going to share from one of my favorite books. It's called The Book of Awakening. You guys know at various times I pretty much have every single page marked, but sometimes I'll go through and clear them out and it's like a whole new book. So I think this one is particularly appropriate for all of us at this point, and it's called Outweighing Clouds. The bud in half bloom outweighs the cloud. Some days I wake up with a cloud around my heart, and it dulls everything except the weight I carry inside. Yet just because I can't make it to the light doesn't mean that the light has vanished. In truth, the heart, like the earth, is continually blanketed by ever-changing atmospheres that come and go between who we are and how we live our days. If we could only suspend our judgment when clouded in the heart, for many skepticisms are born from conclusions drawn while unable to see, as if any kind of understanding will prevent the clouds from coming or going, again and again. But no cloud lasts forever. The earth and all that grows from it knows this well. So does the heart and everything that grows from it, in spite of all our very understandable pains. This morning, as we move through our practice, we'll maybe recognize some clouds. Maybe it's about our physical practice. Maybe it's about what you're emotionally feeling right now or intellectually. Lots of thoughts going through lots of people's heads. So recognize that, like the clouds, the thoughts will come, the thoughts will go. The emotions will come, they'll go. The poses will come, they'll go. So we'll just move with that awareness of being present to what is and okay with what is, whether it's cloudy or sunny. I'd like you to engage the strength of the core as you sit here, just breathing in and breathing out. That space right behind the belly button, you'll gently tug the belly button in. And then imagine that somebody rested a bowl, so the round part of the bowl is resting against your belly button. And they begin to gently push the bowl towards your spine. And you start to feel the muscles in the belly hug in a little bit more, a little bit more. Not enough to strain, because I want you to still do the long full breaths in and the full breaths out, but long enough to feel engaged and connected. Keep allowing the bowl to gently push back a little bit deeper, but the breath to continue on. And you notice as you do engage the core, your low back feels a little stronger and you can sit a little taller in your Sukhasana or easy sitting pose. And then let's bring our hands to heart center. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Bow your head to your heart. And then whenever you're ready, slowly begin to lift the chin and flutter the eyes open. Reach the hands out wide. Push down into the tips of the fingers. Feel your spine get nice and long. Good. And then turning your palms, reach your arms up and overhead. Good. And exhale, release your hands out to the sides. Good. Inhale, float the arms up. And exhale, release. One more breath. The arms come up and overhead. The shoulders stay soft. Feel yourself get nice and long. Release your right hand to the floor. Spider walk the right fingertips out to the side. When you've gone far enough, which is up to you, push into the tips of the right fingers and you'll feel your left hip anchored back to the floor. From the left hip, reach through the left fingertips and breathe. Good. Try and let your head extend from your tailbone rather than dropping to the side. And we'll switch sides. We'll reach the right arm up and go the other way. Good. Extending from the right hip through the right fingertips. Inhale, come back. Switch sides. Switch sides. Let your breath move with you. Actually, let your breath guide you into the movement. It's all connected, right? Reach, reach, reach. Any amount. Even it off. Oops, I think I have to go the other side to even it off. All right. Nice. Come back to center. Good. Take a breath. Take that right hand over to the opposite knee. Take the left hand behind you. Just waking up the body here. Inhale the spine long, letting your head rest at the top of the spine. From your belly, twist to your left. Each time you inhale, you can feel your spine get longer. Each time you exhale, you actually make space to twist a little deeper. Keep that mula bandha, the core engaged. Good. Inhale, we'll come back the opposite way. Twist in the opposite direction, letting your spine inhale and lengthen, and letting your spine twist on the exhale. Inhale, float your arms up and overhead, soften your shoulders. Let's come into a twist again, but we'll add a little bit of a bind. So take your right hand over to your left knee, take your left hand behind you, and then take your left hand and reach far behind you, maybe for your right hip. Maybe you can't reach your right hip, maybe you're just reaching in that direction. Take another breath in, feel your spine get long, and then twist to your left. Keep that left shoulder down, keep your head at the top of the spine. Unwind and come back to center. Good. Reach your arms up and overhead. So we want to stay long as we come into that twist, and then take the left hand over to the right knee. Take your right hand either behind you or add the bind where you take the fingertips and place them on the left hip. Anchor that left hip down. If your fingers won't touch there, it's okay. Just think about anchoring into the left hip and twisting to your right. Unwind, come back to center. Good. Wiggle out your shoulders. All right, now grab that strap. I hope you have one. If you don't, it's all right. It's just a slightly different sensation. And you'll bring your feet out in front of you and wrap the strap around the ball mount of your feet. Okay. Good. Strap could be a tie, an old tie. It could be, like mine is just the belt from my robe. We're getting creative here, I know, in our practice. Now, put a little micro bend in your knees. So there's a softness in your knees. You've got to hold up the straps. Go ahead and pull the straps back and pull your shoulders back at the same time. Again, engage that mula bandha, that core strength. That's what I'm talking about. The space behind your belly button, reaching for your spine, but your breath is moving all the way through the torso. Full breath in and a full breath out. Feel the tips of your shoulder blades hugging in towards one another as your heart's lifting up. You feel your hips heavy on the floor. Breathe here, not just in, but also out. It's easy to sort of lock into poses. See if you can soften into this space. All right, so we're just getting started here this morning. As you push back into your hips, you can see your feet are there. You don't need to touch them, okay? But we can push back into our hips, lift up into our chest, bend the elbows, so we're just hinging the elbows, and bring the chest forward pretty much any amount. So we're not trying to touch the toes. Some of you may be able to walk your hands down the strap to go a little further, but I really don't want you dumping into the low back, and that's what happens if we try to reach forward and grab our feet. Unless you're super flexy bendy, in which case you need to really be engaging the muscles. So those of you who are tight may think, well, I'll never be able to do these things, and sometimes doing the things can actually be more harmful than good for us. So we want to practice our yoga with an awareness of the stretch, but also the strength. The two need to work together, kind of like the sun and the clouds. We wouldn't recognize the sun being so amazing and awesome if we didn't have clouds occasionally. All right, release. Let's come to hands and knees. All right. Take your blanket or whatever you were sitting up on, move it out of the way. Coming into tabletop, wrist creases right underneath the shoulders. Knees right underneath the hips. Engage the strength of the core, that mula bandha. So you think of gently pushing the bowl against your belly, keeping the curve in the low back. Bring your shoulders onto your back so you feel like you're pretty much one long line from your tailbone through the top of the head. We already did the neck releases. We'll come at them in a slightly different way. Go ahead and drop your head. Make a couple circles in one direction. Feel the crunch, maybe no crunch, just a little bit of circles. Don't go too fast, you'll get dizzy. Go the opposite way. Maybe you're like me and you notice one side feels crunchier or different than the other side. We'll come back to center. Exhale, make your way into a cat stretch. Inhale, make your way through to cow. Begin to find a back and forth between your cat and your cow, moving with the rhythm of your breath. What feels good to you, you are setting the pace. All right, meet me back in center. Take your left hand and place it right above your left ear. Your fingertips are pointing over towards your right shoulder. As you use your breath, inhale, push your head into your hand, roll the left shoulder over the right. Come into a little twist. Good, come back to center. Keep your hand on your head. We'll do 2 more rounds of twisting to the left. And then come back to center, and we'll do the opposite side. So you'll place your right hand just above your right ear, roll the right shoulder over the left, pushing the head into the hand. Come back to center. 2 more twists in that direction. And come back to center. Place your hands on the mat. Go ahead and send your hips heavy over your heels. So now you're sitting on your toes, your heels. And then go ahead and shake your wrist crease out. Maybe you want to grab your right hand with your left hand and pull it out of the wrist. Just to give you a little more space. Shake it up and down. Come back into your tabletop. Take a breath. Slide your left toes to the back edge of the mat. Lift the left leg. As you curl into your cat stretch, bring your knee to your chin. One time. Inhale, take it back. Exhale, 2 times. Inhale, take it back. Use your breath. Again. Again. That's 4 times. Let's do a 5th time. And release that left knee. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Slide the right toes back, lift the right leg. Exhale, knee to chin, rounding the shoulders. Inhale, come back. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, come back. 3rd time. Inhale, back. 4th time. Inhale, back. 5th time. Back to center. Take a breath. Send your hips heavy over your heels. Shake your wrist creases out. So remember, if you push into the ball mount of your index fingers, not so much into the back of your palm, you won't feel it as much in your wrist creases. So we really want to root down into the ball mounts of the index fingers when the hands are on the floor. Palms to the earth again. Back into your tabletop. Step your knees back just a little bit. Good. And then lift your knees up. You're in a plank pose. Just like in tabletop, we want to be one long line, this time from the heels through the top of the head. Feel yourself breathing. And then inhale and lift your hips up to the ceiling. You're pushing into the ball mounts of your index fingers. Good job. Breathe in. Feel your shoulders snuggle onto your back. Feel your hips lifting up towards the ceiling. And of course, if this is too much, you can always do this from puppy dog pose where your knees are on the floor. Slow flow. We're flowing, we're moving slowly. All right, look in between your hips. Walk your feet forward. Keep your knees super bent. Push into both feet. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And take your hands to heart center. Good. Full breath in. Look down at your feet. Make sure they're hip distance apart. Your knees are soft. Reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale them through the center of your heart. 2 more rounds in this direction. Turn the corners of your mouth up. Good morning, sunshine. And then reverse it. Go the opposite way. Good. All right, as you come around, place your hands to the tops of your thighs. Come into your half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. In half forward fold, the legs are straight, but the knees are soft. So there's no reason to lock into any of these poses. Push into both feet. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. And exhale, hinge at the hips. Now we're going to bend our knees like crazy and bring our palms all the way down onto the floor. So you're pretty much in a squat when your hands come to the floor. Step your feet back into a plank pose. And then on the inhale, lift your hips up to the ceiling. Push them back to the wall behind you. Engage Mula Bandha. So another way to relieve any pressure on your hands is to use your core, hugging the belly, and lift your hips way up towards the ceiling. Now let's lift the right leg, 3-legged dog. Let's come into a cat stretch. Bring your shoulders over your wrist creases. Bring your knee to your chin. 1 time. Inhale, take the right leg back. Bring the shoulders forward, knee forward, 2 times. Come on back. Let's do it a 3rd time. Come straight back. Release the right foot. Release your knees to the floor. Walk your hands back. Shake them off. Good. Full breath in, full breath out. All right, let's come back into downward facing dog. We'll do the opposite side. Here we are. Hands right up under the wrist creases. Lift up, plank. Downward facing dog. Lift the left leg, 3-legged dog. All right, shoulders come forward like a cat. Bring your knee to your chin 1 time. Take it back. Knee to the chin 2 times. Take it back. Knee to the chin the 3rd time. Take it back. Ooh, bring the foot down, bring the knees down. Walk the hips back over the heels. Shake out the wrists. Everybody still with me? All right. For some reason, this makes me think of Donna when I do this pose, because I remember that one class that I taught it, and she was so excited. Anyhow, if you're out there, Donna, this is for you. All right, we're going to start off in a low plank. We'll lift our knees, high plank. We'll lift up, downward facing dog. All familiar places. Bring your shoulders forward over your wrist creases. Strong shoulders on the back. From the heels to the top of the head, feel yourself breathing. Release your knees to the floor. Good. Okay, take a breath here. Keeping your elbows right next to your body. Lower your chest halfway. And push up. Woo! You maybe want to use Mula Bandha. Engage the core. You do want to use Mula Bandha. All right, let's lower halfway down again. And then push up. And we'll lower halfway down again. And come all the way down. Bring your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Lift your right leg, leg strong. Bring it down. Lift your left leg, leg is strong. Bring it back down. Both legs are strong. Push into the tops of the feet. Your elbows are right under your shoulders. Your elbows are right under your shoulders. Not your hands. To my one student. Good. All right. So the elbows are under the shoulders. Drag your hands back. Pull your heart forward. All right. As you come into Sphinx pose, begin to notice where you can sort of brush the clouds away. As you push into the tops of the feet, do you feel your legs a little more engaged, a little more connected? As you drag your hands back isometrically, do you feel your heart pulling through between the upper arms? You keep your neck nice and soft. Now, imagine somebody push that bowl gently into your belly. You feel your belly lift off the mat. You feel your hip bones push down towards the floor, but there's more length and strength in your low back. Let's just breathe. All right, bring your forehead down to the mat. Bring your hands next to your chest. Curl your toes under. On the in-breath, lift up plank pose to downward facing dog. And remember, there's variations, and I want you to use the one that feels right to you. Now we'll pull forward into plank pose again. Lower to your knees. Keeping your elbows right next to the body, engaging the strength of your core. Lower halfway down. If you feel like pushing up, push up. Lower halfway down. Push up. Lower halfway down. Pull through. Back into Sphinx pose. You know what to do. Elbows under the shoulders. Rock from side to side. Feel the balance in the shape. Push into the tops of the feet. Engage Mula Bandha. Slow flow class. You do what feels right for you, no matter what class you're in. But the first option is to stay right here and really feel and engage. The second option will be to lift your hip bones off the floor. So they're not going to come way up. I don't want you to stick your booty up. Just lift the hips. Keep your knees on the floor for now. Squeeze your legs together. Don't forget to breathe. Feel your shoulders on your back. Now we'll exhale, we'll lower back down. We'll bring our heads down, we'll bring our hands next to our chest, curl the toes, plank pose, downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice. Remember, in down dog, we want to push into the ball mounts of the index fingers and lift the hips up to the ceiling. Okay, let's come forward again. Plank pose. Knees to the floor or chaturanga, your choice. If you don't know what rung the knees to the floor is what I want you to do. All right, keeping the elbows next to the body, lower halfway down. Engage your core to lift back up. Halfway down, lift back up. Third time around, come all the way through. Breathe here. Let your face soften, let your breath be steady. All right, let's come into Sphinx pose again. Rock a little bit from side to side. Maybe you found a little bit of heat this morning. You didn't even know it was going to be this warm. Maybe not. As you push into the tops of the feet, feel the forearms dragging back. Feel the strength of Mula Bandha, that space right behind the belly button, down towards the pubic bone, up towards the rib cage. All right, taking a breath here, you feel the length in your low back. Keep that. Option 1 is to stay here. Option 2 is to come back and lift your hips off the floor, keeping your knees on the floor. Third option, curl your toes under, come into a forearm plank. Feel the shoulders hug onto your back. Push back into your heels and feel yourself lengthen from the heels through the top of the head. Are you still with me with your breath? In other words, are you breathing in and balancing it by breathing out? I'm still here. Yep, I'm still holding it. Sometimes this is when I like to tell a story in class, but not this morning. We'll come all the way down. Take a breath. Relax your head down to the floor. Rest your hands down next to your hips and turn your head in one direction or another. Relax your shoulders towards the floor. Feel your belly resting on the floor. Feel the back of your body filling up with the breath. So you're taking the breath all the way down the spine. And then you're surrendering the breath. As you surrender to your breath, turn your head in the opposite direction and see if you can balance the breath out. Bend your knees, bring your forehead to the floor, and swish your feet from side to side. Bringing your hands right next to your chest, bringing the tops of the feet flat on the floor. Take another breath in, curl your toes under, elbows next to the body, lift up into plank. And back into downward facing dog. Look in between your hands. Walk, or maybe you even want to bend your knees and hop your feet forward. Push down into both feet. Inhale, rise up, reach the arms up and overhead. Good. Exhale, take your hands through to heart center. Balance your feet on the floor so you're resting on all four corners of your feet. Lift your heart up towards your thumbs. Good morning again. Good to see you. Reach your arms up. Soften your shoulders. Good. Feel yourself get really long. Nice. All right, take a breath here. Bend your knees. Send your hips back. Keep your heart lifted. Keep your breath steady. Hug your belly in. Mula Bandha. All right, so here's a little secret. Drop your tailbone down, you'll get a little more engagement with the core. Lift your heart up, you'll get a lengthening through the tips of your fingers. Squeeze the legs together. Keep breathing. Legs are strong. Good. I'm doing it too. I know how long we're holding it. Beautiful. All right, push down into your feet. Reach your arms up and overhead. Ooh, that felt good to come out. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Come into a version of forward fold that works for you. So half forward fold is a great option. If you want to reach towards the floor, it's cool, but make sure you keep your hamstrings stretching, not pulling. Make sure you're not yanking on your low back. Push down, rise all the way up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Good, now take your hands through to heart center. All right, feet are balanced on the floor. Lift your thumbs up towards your heart. Beautiful. Let's come into chair pose again. Let's bring your hands to heart center. Keep your hands at heart center. So we're coming at it a slightly different way. Hug the shoulders onto the back. Push down into the feet. Lift your toes off the floor. Engage Mula Bandha. Keep the jaw soft. Keep your gaze steady. Okay, we're going to hold this long enough. I'll tell you a nerdy story. Last night we played on Zoom. We played Yahtzee with a group of friends that we have been friends with for a long time. Admittedly, I haven't played Yahtzee in, I think, since middle school. Not that I don't like games, because I do. And I'm only telling you this because I don't want you to overthink how long we're holding the shape. There's the distraction, right? The clouds come in. Ooh, when will they ever lift? They will. The clouds will lift. Push down into your feet. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, lift and rise halfway. Going into a forward fold that feels good to your body. Push down, rise up. Reach the arms up and overhead. Good. Exhale the hands through the center of the heart. Take them down next to your hips. Think of them as like rockets. So there's energy shooting down the tips of your fingertips, giving the heart that lift that it's had for the first 2 rounds. Here we go for the 3rd round of chair pose. Hug the legs in. Keep lifting the heart as you drop the hips down. Feel your core engage Mula Bandha. That little bowl pushing against your belly. If you lift your toes off. Okay, send me a message of something that you've done that's kind of nerdy throughout this. Maybe it's Yahtzee. Okay, last weekend we played Rummy Cube, which I don't think is nerdy. I love that game. Played a lot of Scrabble. Yeah, online. Good. Breathe in. Try not to overthink what you're doing. Push down into your feet. Rise up. Whew. Reach the arms up and overhead. Good. Exhale. Take your hands to heart center. All right. Let's see. We have time for one more standing pose. Place your right ankle on your left knee. Flex your toes back. Of course, you can stand next to a wall to do this too. Don't feel like you have to do it in the middle of the room. Try not to let the wall do the work. Again, use your core strength. Bend your left knee. Keep your heart lifting up towards your thumbs as you sink back into another version. This is actually standing pigeon pose. And we still want to scoop the belly out, but take the breath all the way down the length of the spine. Push into your left foot. Release the right foot. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. Right foot's rooted and grounded. Place the left ankle on the right knee. Hinge at the hips. Take your hips down. Keep lifting your heart up. For standing pigeon. Release the left foot. Rise up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Let go of whatever you're holding on to. Bend your knees so much that you come down onto your bottoms. Reach for your blanket to sit up on. Grab your strap. Bring your right leg forward. Hug your left knee in towards your chest so you're sitting nice and tall. Good, and then wrap the strap around the ball mount of your right foot and come up so your shoulders are over your hips again. Good. Your left arm's on the outside of your left leg. Engage Mula Bandha. Hug that right heel into your hip. Lift the right heel off the floor. Maybe you want to walk your hands down the strap, but not if you roll into your shoulders. So the core stays strong, the heart stays lifted, that right leg is lifted. Don't forget to breathe. And it's kind of any amount. And we'll release the right leg. And we'll do the same thing going in the opposite direction. So you'll bend your right knee up towards your chest. Hug it in. Left leg is straight. Wrap the strap around the ball mount of your left foot. And again, sit tall so you feel your spine stacking here. And then using the core to help you, you're hugging that left heel into your hip bone. So the left leg is strong, it's lifting, it's energy, but it's also the core. The shoulders are helping you, and you'll float the left leg up. And it's any amount. So for me, I notice whenever I do anything on my left side, it's a little less cooperative. Maybe for you, you've got a side that likes to be more engaged or less engaged. Everyone's breathing, I hope. Extending from the tailbone through the top of the head. All right, release that left leg. Bring your right foot forward. Both feet are in the straps. We've been here before this morning. Inhale, actually take your hands next to your hips. And lift up through the shoulders. Hug the belly, engaging the core. So the low back is supported here. Toes point towards the ceiling. As you push down into your hands, lift up. Again, it's like that rocket. You're pushing down to rise up. Breathe into the space. This is called Dandasana pose if you're learning Sanskrit. All right. Release the blanket out from underneath your hips. I think you'll probably want this space. Okay, you all know that I love you because I'm doing this pose, and it's not one of my favorites. However, I do think it's a great way to explore using your core strength. So you'll take your strap and wrap it around the ball mount of both feet. We've done this a couple times, right? Hug your shoulders so you're sitting up tall. Resist the foot, both feet into the strap. From your tailbone through the top of the head, feel yourself get long. You feel the shoulders hug onto the back. You'll take a breath, tilt yourself back a little bit, bend your knees a little bit, and then straighten your legs into the strap. Oh, maybe you can do it, maybe you can't. Oh, there we go, there we go. All right, hug in, lifting through the top of the head, pushing into the feet. Notice what you're feeling. Can you breathe? All right, exhale and come back down. Good times, right? All right, now take the strap off to the side. Place your hands underneath your knees, up on the backs of your thighs. Hug your shoulders onto your back. We'll play a little bit. First, we'll just lift the right leg and bring it down. And then we'll lift the left leg. Hug it in. Use the Mula Bandha. Feel the shoulders strong on your back. All right? Good. This is fun, right? I knew you'd like it. That's why I was doing it, because I love it too. Sometimes. All right, bring the knee down. Okay, so we've done it on each side. Now you know we're going to do it on both sides. Your option, though, is to not do it on both sides. Do what feels right to you. Shoulders hug on the back. Float your heels up. Breathe. Feel your shoulders opening the front of the heart. So the shoulders hug onto the back. Your core is engaged. All right. How you doing? You still with me? Oh, can you let the arms come out to the sides? Just a question, not a command. Oh, I'm getting shaky. Oh. Bring your heels back down. Let's come into cobbler's pose. It's a nice low back release. So in cobbler's pose, you take the soles of the feet together. We're not going to stay here too long, so you don't really need a block. Hands come to the ankles. Lift your heart. Good. Now take your elbows wide. Push back into your hips. Bring your head forward. Squeeze the soles of the feet together as you extend through the top of the head. Right, inhale and come back up. So 2 variations so far. One is using the strap. One is using the hands underneath the legs. Both are good options. There's a third option if you'd like. Bring your feet forward. Hug your shoulders onto your back. Take a breath. Engage Mula Bandha. That space right between the pubic bone and the lowest ribs. You're hollowing out the belly, but the breath is moving all the way through the spine as you float your feet up. Maybe you send your legs straight. Open up the front of the shoulders. Good. And then take your arms out wide. Breathe. I can't talk and do this. Breathe. Oh, woo. Okay, back to Baddha Konasana. Inhale, lift and reach the heart up towards the ceiling. Rock a little bit from side to side. Good. All right, take your elbows wide, push back into your hips. Now I'd like you just to fold over towards your feet. Let go of anything you may be holding on to as you surrender into this shape. All right, inhale and come back up. Good. Coming down onto our backs. So have your strap nearby. When you come down onto your back, take the strap. Wrap the strap around the ball mount of your right foot. Your head comes all the way down. And then take your left foot up into the strap. Walk your hands up towards your feet and then plug your shoulders down to the floor. Straighten through the legs. And again, don't lock into your knees. We need a little softness in the knees so we don't overdo anything. So Viparini Karini is the name of this pose, although I don't know, the extension would be Viparini Karini without the wall. Because we're doing legs up the wall, but we don't have a wall. We're using the strap. So we're finding our way into the shape when we don't necessarily have all the things that we may think we need. Bend your knees, release your feet to the floor, place your strap off to the side, place your left ankle onto your right knee, push your right knee away, push your left thigh away, flex into your toes. So we did this pose a minute ago when we were doing flying pigeon. Now we are doing more of a reclining pigeon. You're pushing the right knee away with your right hand. You're pushing the left thigh away. You're melting your shoulders. So now you really do have space in your low back, right? There's a little arch in the low back. Exhale and push your belly down to the floor. Inhale, arch into the low back. Exhale, so somebody looking may not realize just how active you are, but you are definitely engaged as you arch into the low back on the inhale. And that third time you exhale and take the low back down to the floor. Push, push, push against the floor. Now release your hands out into a gentle T. Lift your hips up, move them to the right side of your mat. Drop your right foot all the way over to the left side, and you'll feel space along the right side of the body. Look over to your right hand. Take that left hand, reach for the top of your left knee, and gently pull your left knee away pull your right knee away from your right shoulder. It's all twisted. Breathe and notice the space that you're finding. And release your left hand out to the side. Inhale and come back up. Undo the legs. Square yourselves up on your mat. And let's do the same thing on the opposite side. The left ankle will rest on the right knee. Push the left knee away. Push the right thigh away. Make your way into this shape mindfully, flexing the toes. What do you feel and notice? So when I push away, I really feel my shoulders get heavy. I feel that opening in the hip, and I feel the arch in the low back. Now let's stretch the low back by exhaling and pushing the belly down towards the floor. And inhaling and lifting the belly up. 3 times. So that was once, this is the second time. And we'll do that a third time. What do you notice and feel when you do this? And release. Take your arms out to the side. Lift your hips. Move them to the left side. Drop your left foot all the way to the right. Placing your right hand up on your left knee. Stretching through the left side. Just breathing into the space of your twist. Inhale, come back to center. Release your left foot to the floor. Bring your feet right next to your hips. Take your hands, rest them on your belly. Melt your shoulders to the floor. So imagine that I had my hands and I gently press them down onto your shoulders. So you're rooting the shoulders down. You're opening up the front of the chest. The body will naturally sort of arch into the low back. As you find that space, create a little stretch in the low back by exhaling and pushing your belly like you're pushing down on a bowl that's resting on your belly to the floor. 1 time. Inhale, come back to neutral. Exhale, push the belly down 2 times. All right, 3 more rounds at your pace. And after you've completed that, take the soles of your feet, bring them together, let your knees drop out to the side. Coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclining cobbler's pose. So essentially the legs are in the shape of a diamond. And we won't stay here too long. We'll just sort of notice what space we discover when we come into this shape. And we'll bring our knees back together again, hug them to our chest, rock a little bit from side to side. We've made our way into Shavasana. If you'd like, you can reach for your socks or your sweatshirt. Maybe you want to put your blanket underneath your knees. Perhaps you'd prefer to put your blanket over the top of you. We'll make sure that we have enough time to really settle into a nice Shavasana. One where we're symmetrical. So if you like to do legs up the wall and you want to swing your legs up the wall, go for it, Suzanne. If you are somebody who loves to come into a variation that I haven't offered, you know what that variation is, please find your way there. Maybe you use some blocks and you come into supported fish. Whichever version of Shavasana that you have decided on, be mindful that it's symmetrical. Shavasana is a time to reset and find some balance. Go ahead and take a full breath in once you're settled in, and then take an audible exhale out. 2 more breaths just like that. Fully inhaling, audibly exhaling out. Remember, you can stay in your Shavasana for as long as you'd like. Ideally, the body resets itself completely within 6 minutes. If you'd like to stay here in your Shavasana a little bit longer, it's great. If you want to wiggle your fingers and your toes a little bit, bend into your knees and make your way up into a seated pose, that's good too. Again, from Mark Nepo's book, The Book of Awakening, Outweighing Clouds. The bud in half bloom outweighs the clouds. Some days I wake with a cloud around my heart, and it dulls everything except the weight I carry deep inside. Yet just because I can't make it to the light today doesn't mean that the light has vanished. In truth, the heart, like the earth, is continually blanketed by ever-changing atmospheres that come and go between who we are and how we live our days. If we could only spend our judgment when clouded in the heart, for many skepticisms are born from conclusions drawn while unable to see, as if any kind of understanding will prevent the clouds from coming or going again and again. But no cloud lasts forever. The earth and all that grows from it knows this well. So does the heart and everything that grows from it, in spite of all our very understandable pains. Let's bring our hands to heart center. As always, I am so honored to sit in the seat of the teacher. I'm so grateful when you choose to share your practice with me. As you move through your day, I wish you love, I wish you peace, and I wish you joy. Bowing the head to the heart, namaste.